My chosen vessel, on March 2nd, heaven marked your name in fire. This is not a random date. This is not a coincidence. And this message is not for everyone. On March 2nd, God says, you are the chosen one of your bloodline to break the cycle of poverty. And right now, Archangel Michael is standing before you in the spirit realm, handing you the new covenant. The question is not whether it is real. The question is, will you open it? Listen carefully. For generations, something has followed your family. A silent struggle. A repeating pattern. Dreams that almost happened. Opportunities that slipped away at the last second. Money that came, but never stayed. Hard work but little reward. It felt normal because it was familiar. But what felt normal was never meant to be permanent. You were born into a battle you did not start. And that is why you feel different. You always wondered why you think bigger than your environment. Why you feel uncomfortable settling. Why mediocrity irritates your spirit. Why you carry a hunger that no one around you seems to understand. It is because you were never designed to repeat the pattern. You were appointed to interrupt it. March 2nd is a spiritual line drawn in the sand. Heaven is declaring, the cycle ends here. But breaking a cycle requires one person to wake up. One person to see beyond survival. One person to refuse the script handed down through generations. And that person is you. Archangel Michael is not approaching you with fear. He comes with authority. He carries a covenant sealed by divine promise. A covenant that says lack will not define your legacy. A covenant that says provision will follow obedience. A covenant that says your children will not inherit your struggles. They will inherit your breakthrough. Pause for a moment. Think about your bloodline. Think about the stories you grew up hearing. We never had much. People like us don't reach that level. It's hard for our family. As words recede, seeds of limitation, seeds of small thinking, seeds of quiet acceptance. But today, a new seed is being planted. God is saying you are the chosen one of your bloodline to break the cycle of poverty. Not because you are perfect, not because you are the strongest, but because you are willing to listen. There is something different about this season. Doors that once ignored you are beginning to notice you. Ideas are forming in your mind that scare you, in a good way. You feel pressure, but it is not destruction. It is preparation. And here is the revelation that may shock you. Poverty was never just about money. It was about mindset. It was about fear of stepping out. It was about believing you must shrink to survive. The new covenant Archangel Michael is handing you is not just a financial shift. It is a mental awakening. It is a spiritual realignment. It is heaven restoring authority back to you. You were not born to barely make it. You were born to build. But building requires courage. And courage requires clarity. That is why this message found you now, not last year, not next year, now. March 2nd represents divine timing. It represents a contract being rewritten. It represents heaven saying, we have watched your endurance. Now we release your inheritance. You understand what this means. If you accept this covenant, you cannot go back to small thinking. You cannot keep speaking defeat over your future. You cannot entertain the same excuses that kept previous generations stuck. Because once light enters, darkness loses its excuse. Archangel Michael stands as a warrior over your destiny. He does not fight randomly. He fights strategically. And right now, he is guarding the transfer. The transfer of wisdom. The transfer of opportunity. the transfer of divine favor that skipped others, but will not skip you. This is why resistance increased lately. This is why distractions tried to pull you away. This is why doubt whispered louder than usual. Whenever a bloodline breakthrough is near, opposition intensifies. But opposition is not proof of failure. It is proof of impact. You were not chosen to struggle forever. You were chosen to shift the atmosphere of your entire lineage. Imagine your future children saying, "It started with them." Imagine your name being the turning point in your family history. Imagine being remembered as the one who broke the invisible chain. That is what March 2nd carries. Heaven is not asking you to be someone else. It is asking you to rise into who you already are. The covenant is in your hands. Will you open it? Because once you do, there is no returning to the old identity. Once you do, excuses expire. Once you do, the poverty mindset loses legal access to your future. And this is only the beginning of what is about to be revealed. Beloved warrior of destiny, what you are feeling right now is not pressure. It is activation. When heaven selects one person in a bloodline to break a generational cycle, that person begins to sense a holy unrest. You may have thought it was anxiety. You may have called it frustration. But in truth, it is the stirring of assignment. On March 2nd, when God declared that you are the chosen one of your bloodline to break the cycle of poverty, something shifted in the unseen realm. And Archangel Michael did not come empty-handed. He came with enforcement. Understand this clearly. Cycles do not break quietly. They resist. They attempt to convince you that nothing will change. They replay old memories to keep you emotionally tied to limitation. But what makes you different from everyone before you is awareness. You can see the pattern. You can name it. And because you can name it, you can confront it. For years, your family may have survived on just enough to pay the bills, just enough to stay afloat, just enough to avoid collapse. But just enough was never heaven's design for you. There is a difference between surviving and stewarding abundance. The covenant being handed to you is not about luxury without purpose. It is about provision with responsibility. You have been trusted with something sacred. The reason you have always felt like the black sheep or the different thinker is because you were never meant to fully blend into the old system. You question what others accept. You challenge what others tolerate. That is not rebellion. It is revelation. When God selects someone to shift a bloodline, He plants vision in them that makes the old ceiling feel suffocating. But here is where many chosen ones fail. They receive the revelation, but they hesitate at the execution. Archangel Michael is not only handing you a covenant, he is standing guard over your courage. The new covenant requires new habits. It requires discipline where there was once delay. It requires faith where there was once fear. You cannot carry generational breakthrough with generational thinking. Look closely at your recent life. Certain friendships feel misaligned. Certain conversations feel draining. Certain environments feel too small for your expanding vision. This is not arrogance. This is adjustment. When heaven elevates your assignment, it also upgrades your environment. The spirit of poverty thrives on comparison and doubt. It whispers, "Who do you think you are?" But heaven responds, "You are the appointed one." The moment you accept that, something inside you stabilizes. You stop apologizing for dreaming. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You begin walking like someone who knows a covenant has been signed in their favor. And let me tell you something powerful. Your obedience will unlock doors you did not even knock on. Financial cycles are not broken only by earning more. They are broken by thinking differently, speaking differently, and managing differently. The covenant includes wisdom. Ideas will begin to come to you at unexpected times. Strategies will surface in quiet moments. Pay attention. Write them down. Act on them. Heaven often answers through instruction. This is why this message is reaching you now, and not when you were asleep spiritually, not when you were distracted beyond recovery, but now, when your spirit is alert enough to receive it. If this is resonating with your heart, do not stay silent. Declare it. Type in the comments that you accept the covenant. When you speak agreement, you strengthen alignment. Share this message with someone in your family who needs to understand that cycles can end. Subscribe to this channel and become part of a community that refuses to settle for inherited limitation. Your engagement is not just support, it is participation in spreading this awakening. When you like and share this message, you help another chosen one realize they are not alone. And hear this carefully before we move deeper. The breaking of poverty in your bloodline will not only change your bank account, it will change your confidence. It will change how you walk into rooms. It will change how your children see possibility. It will write what is considered normal in your family history. You are not here by accident. Archangel Michael stands as witness that the transfer has begun. But heaven responds to action. Do not let this be another inspiring moment that fades tomorrow. Let it be the dividing line between who you were and who you are becoming. Something greater is about to be revealed about the covenant itself, and once you understand that detail, you will never look at March 2nd the same way again. Anointed air of breakthrough, there is a reason March 2nd feels heavier in the spirit than any ordinary day. This is the day heaven sealed what generations before you only dreamed about. When God said, "You are the chosen one of your bloodline to break the cycle of poverty," it was not symbolic language. It was a legal declaration in the unseen realm. And when Archangel Michael extended the new covenant toward you, he was not offering motivation. He was presenting authority. The covenant you are being handed is different from anything your family has ever carried. It is not built on luck. It is not dependent on the economy. It is not limited by your past mistakes. It is built on alignment. Alignment with divine instruction. Alignment with discipline. Alignment with identity. Poverty survived in your bloodline because identity was unclear. People worked hard, but they did not see themselves as builders of legacy. They survived storms, but they did not believe they were worthy of inheritance. You, however, have been awakened to something deeper. You have always sensed that your life would not follow the same script. Even when you faced setbacks, something inside you refused to fully surrender. That here resistance was not stubbornness. It was destiny guarding itself. Archangel Michael hath been assigned as a warrior over your transition. Every time you almost gave up, there was unseen protection around your calling. Every time you felt delayed, there was strategic positioning taking place. Here is the truth many never understand. Breaking a poverty cycle requires spiritual maturity. It is easy to desire wealth. It is rare to be prepared for stewardship. The new covenant is not only about receiving more, it is about becoming more. You are being trained to think long-term, to build systems, to create stability that does not collapse under pressure. March 2nd represents a shift from reactive living to intentional living. From this day forward, you cannot afford careless decisions. Not because you are being judged, but because you are being trusted. When one person in a bloodline rises, the ripple effect touches cousins, siblings, future generations not yet born. You may not see them now, but your obedience is clearing a path for them. There will be moments where fear tries to return. It will whisper, "What if you fail?" But that whisper is the echo of old programming. The covenant answers back, "You are equipped." The difference between you and those before you is not intelligence. It is revelation. You have been shown the pattern. You have been warned of the trap. You have been handed instruction. Now comes responsibility. Archangel Michael does not hand covenants to the careless. He stands beside those who are ready to confront internal doubt and external resistance. And resistance will come. Some people close to you may not understand your growth. They may feel uncomfortable with your ambition. Do not interpret their confusion as opposition. Sometimes growth disrupts familiar dynamics. Stay focused. This assignment is not about proving others wrong. It is about fulfilling what heaven has spoken. When God calls you the chosen one of your bloodline, He is not elevating you above others in pride. He is appointing you as a door opener, a standard setter, a foundation layer. And here is something powerful you must understand. The covenant activates fully when you believe it belongs to you. Many inherit opportunity but sabotage it because deep inside they feel unworthy. That cannot be your story. You must renew your mind daily. Speak life over your future. Declare abundance with humility. Plan with vision. Act with courage. The cycle ends not only because heaven declared it, but because you agree with it. Right now, there is movement in the unseen realm. Doors are aligning. Resources are being positioned. Ideas are being sharpened. Archangel Michael is guarding what is being prepared for you. But heaven responds to bold faith. When you move, assistance multiplies. This is your moment to seal it with declaration. Type "I break the cycle" in the comments if this is speaking to your spirit. Blessing code 3291 has just been released over your bloodline. And as this message settles into your heart, understand this. When you sow into what feeds your spirit, you become part of the harvest. God says, "As you pour, I will pour back into you, pressed down and overflowing." If this word is igniting faith in you, step into obedience. You super thanks. Join the membership or release your seed through the PayPal link in the description. This is not about supporting a channel. It is about fueling a fire that reaches souls trapped in cycles. When you give, you declare that light must spread further. Heaven records the hands that respond quickly. Act now. Seal your obedience. Let your seed speak for your bloodline. Faithful carrier of legacy, now that the declaration has been made and the covenant has been placed in your hands, you must understand what opening it truly means. A covenant is not a casual promise. It is a binding agreement that changes identity. On March 2nd, when God called you the chosen one of your bloodline to break the cycle of poverty, He was not only speaking about your external circumstances. He was redefining who you are at your core. For years, your family may have identified themselves by struggle. Struggle became part of the family story. It shaped conversations at dinner tables. It shaped expectations for the future. It shaped the limits people placed on themselves. But heaven is now rewriting that identity through you. Archangel Michael stands not only as a warrior, but as a witness. He witnesses the moment a chosen one decides to think differently. He witnesses the moment fear is confronted instead of entertained. He witnesses the moment a person says, "It ends with me." But here is the challenge that comes after revelation: consistency. Breaking a cycle is not a single emotional decision. It is daily discipline. It is choosing wisdom when shortcuts appear attractive. It is budgeting when others are careless. It is investing in knowledge when others invest only in comfort. It is building quietly when others are distracted by noise. You have been given a new covenant, but covenants require participation. There will be mornings when motivation feels distant. There will be days when old habits try to return. That is when you must remember that you are not only acting for yourself. You are acting for every generation connected to your name. Every disciplined choice you make weakens the old pattern. Every wise decision strengthens the new foundation. March 2nd is a turning point, but turning points demand movement. Look at your environment closely. Are there financial habits that need to change? Are there skills you need to develop? Are there mentors you need to seek? The covenant includes access to wisdom, but wisdom must be pursued. God has declared you chosen, but He will not force transformation upon you. He invites you into partnership. Archangel Michael is guarding your courage, but you must walk forward. Understand something deeply. Poverty is not only the absence of money. It is the presence of limitation in thought. It is the belief that abundance belongs to others, but not to you. That belief must be uprooted completely. You cannot carry a covenant of breakthrough while secretly doubting your worthiness. You are worthy because you are called. You are capable because you are equipped. You are positioned because heaven trusts you. Think about how different your family story will look 20 years from now if you remain consistent. Imagine properties owned instead of rented. Imagine businesses started instead of postponed. Imagine investments made instead of opportunities ignored. Imagine children growing up believing abundance is normal. That vision is not fantasy. It is responsibility. The enemy of your breakthrough will try to disguise itself as comfort. It will say, "You've done enough." It will encourage delay. It will tempt you to relax into old rhythms. But cycles are patient. They wait for you to grow tired. You must be more persistent than the pattern you are breaking. There is also something else happening beneath the surface. As you rise, others in your bloodline will begin to notice. Some will be inspired. Some may feel challenged. Do not allow either reaction to distract you. Stay anchored. Your mission is not to compete. It is to transform. The covenant Archangel Michael placed before you includes protection, but it also includes expectation. Heaven expects you to steward opportunity carefully. That means planning with intention. It means seeking knowledge about money, business, and investment. It means praying for discernment before major decisions. Spiritual authority and practical wisdom must walk together. And here is a powerful truth. The moment you fully accept that you are the chosen one, your posture changes. You stop asking for permission to grow. You stop shrinking your dreams to match other people's comfort zones. You start acting like someone who understands that history is being rewritten through their obedience. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. March 2nd marked the release. What follows is the building. Archangel Michael remains near, not to do the work for you, but to ensure that what heaven releases is not stolen by doubt. Every time you feel uncertainty, return to the declaration. Return to the covenant. Return to the identity that has been spoken over you. Because the truth is this: you are not just breaking a cycle of poverty. You are establishing a cycle of wisdom, stewardship, and generational strength. And what is about to be revealed next will challenge you to confront something even deeper than money. Steadfast soul of destiny, there is something deeper than money that must be confronted if this cycle is truly going to break. It is not your income. It is not your career. It is not even the opportunities that are coming toward you. It is your internal agreement with limitation. On March 2nd, When God declared that you are the chosen one of your bloodline to break the cycle of poverty, heaven did more than announce a financial shift. Heaven exposed hidden beliefs that have quietly governed your family for generations. These beliefs were never written down, yet they shaped everything. Silent agreements like, "we always struggle." Unspoken assumptions like, "success belongs to other families." Quiet fears like, "if I rise too high, I will lose my identity." These internal contracts are subtle, but they are powerful. And unless they are broken, they will attempt to sabotage the covenant that Archangel Michael has placed in your hands. Understand this clearly. You cannot carry abundance while secretly fearing it. Look back at the atmosphere you were raised in. What was said about money? Was it described as something that disappears quickly? Was it linked with stress and arguments? Did you see hard work produce only exhaustion? Those early experiences formed a blueprint in your subconscious. Without realizing it, you may have inherited not just financial patterns, but emotional responses to money. That is why this moment is not only about increase, it is about renewal. You are being rewired. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian while this transformation takes place. He does not fight randomly. He protects transitions. And right now, your mind is transitioning from survival thinking to stewardship thinking. That shift alone can change an entire bloodline. But let us go deeper. Sometimes poverty leaves behind shame, a quiet embarrassment about what you did not have, a sensitivity when conversations turn toward wealth or opportunity. You may have felt behind others. You may have compared your starting point to someone else's advantage. Those feelings are not weaknesses, but they must be healed. Because shame distorts confidence, and confidence is required to manage increase. God did not choose you because you were the most polished. He chose you because you were willing to grow. And growth requires honesty. Be honest about your fears. Be honest about your doubts. Bring them into the light. The moment they are named, they begin to lose power. There may also be guilt attached to your rising. As you begin to succeed, you might feel as if you are distancing yourself from your roots. You may worry that you are leaving others behind. But listen carefully. Breaking a cycle does not mean abandoning your family. It means elevating the standard for everyone connected to you. You are not betraying your bloodline by building wealth. You are honoring their sacrifices by going further than they could. They survived so you could build. March 2nd marked a spiritual authorization. From that moment forward, you are no longer permitted to see yourself as limited. When old thoughts return, you must confront them. When doubt whispers, you must answer it. Speak over yourself daily. Declare that you are disciplined. Declare that you are capable of learning what you do not yet know. Declare that you are worthy of managing increase with wisdom. Your words matter. Every generation before you may have spoken cautiously about money. You must speak confidently about stewardship. Every generation before you may have expected loss. You must expect growth. This is not denial of reality. It is alignment with the covenant. And there is another step that many overlook: forgiveness. If there is resentment toward parents or relatives for financial mistakes, release it. If you carry frustration about missed opportunities, release it. If you are angry at yourself for past decisions, release it. Resentment ties you emotionally to the very cycle you are trying to break. Freedom requires letting go. Archangel Michael's presence symbolizes protection, but protection flows best through a clean heart. As you forgive, clarity increases. As you release bitterness, creativity expands. You begin to see possibilities where once you saw obstacles. This season will test your mindset more than your wallet. Unexpected challenges may arise, not to stop you but to train you. Instead of reacting with panic, pause and ask, "What is this teaching me?" Instead of saying, "I cannot afford this," begin asking, "How can I position myself to afford this wisely?" That shift moves you from victim to architect. You are an architect of generational change. And architects must think long-term. They must design carefully. They must build with patience. You are not chasing quick success. You are constructing stability that will outlive you. That requires emotional maturity. It requires restraint. It requires vision beyond immediate comfort. The covenant in your hands is alive with possibility. But possibility becomes reality only through consistent alignment. Each disciplined choice reinforces the new pattern. Each wise decision weakens the old one. Each act of courage strengthens your authority. You were not selected randomly. You were chosen because heaven saw your resilience. Heaven saw that you would not give up easily. Heaven saw that even when you doubted yourself, you kept moving forward. That persistence is proof of your assignment. The identity of lack is dissolving. The identity of stewardship is rising. And what is about to unfold next will reveal why the resistance you have faced recently was never coincidence. It was confirmation. Courageous architect of a new bloodline story, the resistance you have been experiencing is not random, and it is not a sign that you misunderstood your calling. It is evidence that your decision to rise has consequences in the unseen realm. When God declared on March 2nd that you are the chosen one of your bloodline to break the cycle of poverty, that declaration created movement. Cycles do not collapse quietly. They react. They attempt to intimidate. They attempt to exhaust the one person who dares to interrupt them. You may have felt unusual pressure lately. Financial stretch, emotional fatigue, sudden doubts about plans that once felt clear. It may have seemed like just when you committed to discipline, distractions multiplied. Just when you decided to save, unexpected expenses appeared. Just when you began thinking bigger, voices around you grew louder with caution or criticism. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian over covenant transitions. He does not eliminate every obstacle, but he strengthens your authority within them. Understand this deeply. Resistance reveals relevance. If your growth did not threaten the old pattern, there would be no pushback. If your obedience would not shift generational outcomes, there would be no tension. But because you carry the assignment to break what held others bound, pressure intensified. Pressure, however, is not your enemy. Panic is. Poverty survives through reaction. It thrives when fear dictates decisions. It continues when urgency replaces wisdom. It expands when people operate from survival rather than strategy. You are being retrained to respond differently. When financial tension appears, you do not spiral into worst-case thinking. You analyze. You adjust. You remain calm. When opportunity presents itself, you do not immediately dismiss it as too good for someone like me. You evaluate it with confidence. When others question your ambition, you do not shrink to make them comfortable. You remain anchored. That steadiness is new in your bloodline. March 2nd marked a transfer of authority. You were authorized to think generationally instead of temporarily. Authorized to plan beyond the next bill. Authorized to build systems instead of depending on luck. Authority must be exercised intentionally. If you drift back into autopilot habits, the old cycle attempts to reassert itself. Breaking a generational pattern requires stamina. You are challenging narratives that were repeated for decades. You are confronting beliefs that felt normal because they were familiar. Familiarity can be seductive. It whispers, "At least you know this level." But you were not called to stay at a familiar level. You were called to expand it. There will be days when you feel tired of being the responsible one. Days when you wish someone else had been chosen. Days when the weight of expectation feels heavy. In those moments, remember that heaven does not assign lightly. You were selected because you have endurance. Even when you doubted yourself in the past, you did not completely give up. That persistence is evidence of your capacity. You must guard your focus fiercely in this season. Distraction is subtle. It rarely announces itself as danger. It appears as harmless entertainment, unnecessary spending, time-wasting conversations, or emotional drama that pulls you away from your vision. Every hour invested in distraction is an hour withdrawn from your assignment. Your focus is a form of currency. Where you invest it determines what multiplies. Archangel Michael's presence around your covenant symbolizes protection, but protection does not replace participation. You must refine your habits. Track your finances. Study wealth principles. Develop skills that increase your value. Seek wise counsel. Make decisions based on long-term vision rather than short-term emotion. Influence must replace excuse me. Intentionality must replace randomness. Do not romanticize struggle. In your bloodline, hardship may have been normalized to the point where it felt honorable. But constant struggle is not a badge of identity. It is a condition meant to be transformed. You are not dishonoring your family by desiring stability. You are fulfilling what they hoped for but could not achieve. Growth will feel uncomfortable because it stretches capacity. Saving consistently may feel restrictive at first. Investing in education may feel inconvenient. Saying no to certain expenses may feel isolating. But discipline today creates freedom tomorrow. The covenant you accepted is not emotional hype. It is a blueprint that demands action. If this message is awakening conviction inside you, engage with it boldly. Declare in the comments that you are committed to discipline transformation. Share this message with someone in your family who needs to understand that resistance is a sign of impact. Subscribe to this channel if you are serious about aligning with teachings that strengthen your mindset. When you like and share this message, you are helping another chosen one awaken to their assignment. Do not underestimate the power of collective agreement. And listen carefully, because what you are about to understand next will reshape how you interpret past disappointments. You will see that some doors closed not to punish you, but to protect you. Some delays were not denial, but preparation. Some losses were not destruction, but redirection. You are about to recognize that even the setbacks were part of the strategy to position you as the one who breaks the cycle completely. Faithful guardian of a rising legacy, there is a truth you must now confront with courage. Some of the doors that closed in your past were not attacks. They were protection. You may have mourned certain lost opportunities. You may have questioned why a job did not work out, why a business idea stalled, why a partnership dissolved, why financial progress seemed interrupted. At the time, it felt like rejection. But now, under the light of March 2nd, you are beginning to see it differently. When God declared that you are the chosen one of your bloodline to break the cycle of poverty, He was not reacting to your present. He was orchestrating your future. Archangel Michael has not only been guarding your current steps, he has been redirecting your path long before you understood why. Some doors closed because you were not meant to build your future on unstable foundations. Some opportunities disappeared because they would have tied you to people or systems that could not sustain your assignment. Protection does not always feel pleasant. Sometimes it feels like loss. But imagine if you had succeeded in a space that limited your growth. Imagine if you had entered partnerships that compromised your discipline. Imagine if you had achieved quick money without wisdom. That could have reinforced the very cycle you were chosen to break. The delay you resented may have been the discipline you required. March 2nd revealed that your timeline is not accidental. You were being prepared. Character was being formed. Patience was being strengthened. Awareness was being sharpened. Before wealth can be trusted to you, stability must exist within you. This is why certain lessons repeated, not to frustrate you, but to refine you. There were seasons when money slipped through your hands quickly. That was not just misfortune, it was exposure. Exposure of habits, exposure of emotional spending, exposure of a lack of planning. It was better to learn those lessons at a smaller level than to repeat them at a greater one. And now, when increase comes, you will not handle it carelessly. You will handle it consciously. Archangel Michael stands as witness to your growth. Every time you chose patience over impulse, strength increased. Every time you chose discipline over distraction, maturity deepened. Every time you chose learning over complaining, you stepped closer to the breaking point of the old cycle. And here is something profound. You are no longer asking, "Why did this happen to me?" You are asking, "What was this preparing me for?" That question alone proves transformation. The chosen one in a bloodline must be able to interpret life differently. Others may see setback. You see strategy. Others may see delay. You see development. Others may see limitation. You see training. Do not underestimate how rare that perspective is. You were being shaped quietly while others remained unaware. That is why comparison must end now. Comparing your timeline to someone else's will distract you from your unique preparation. Their assignment is not yours. Their background is not yours. Their covenant is not yours. You carry a specific mandate. Break the cycle completely. And breaking it completely requires more than surface change. It requires internal restructuring. Your relationship with risk has matured. You no longer chase every opportunity impulsively. Your relationship with money is stabilizing. You are beginning to see it as a tool, not a source of identity. Your relationship with discipline is strengthening. You are discovering that consistency is more powerful than excitement. This is growth. March 2nd was the declaration, but what follows is demonstration. You will demonstrate wisdom where others expect panic. You will demonstrate calm where others expect fear. You will demonstrate planning where others expect chaos. That difference will mark you as the turning point in your family. There may still be moments of doubt. That is human. But doubt no longer controls you. It passes through your mind without anchoring in your spirit. That is evidence of maturity. Archangel Michael remains near, not because you are fragile, but because your assignment is significant. When a bloodline shift is underway, protection intensifies. You may not see the battles being fought on your behalf, but you will see the outcomes. Situations that could have derailed you will dissolve. Decisions that once confused you will become clear. People who once distracted you will gradually move out of alignment. You are being positioned. And as you look back at your past disappointments, you will begin to say something powerful. Nothing was wasted. Every closed door redirected you. Every delay strengthened you. Every mistake educated you. Every hardship humbled you. You were never behind. You were being built. What comes next will challenge you to take ownership of your future in a way you have never done before. It will require a decision that moves beyond belief into bold action. chosen reformer of your bloodline. The time for reflection is ending, and the time for decisive action has arrived. March 2nd was not given to you as a moment of emotional inspiration. It was given to you as a line of separation between the old structure and the new one you are called to build. When God declared that you are the chosen one of your bloodline to break the cycle of poverty, He did not simply announce a blessing. Inheritance vision and construction demands responsibility. You cannot build a generational legacy on temporary motivation. You cannot establish stability on inconsistent habits. The covenant placed in your hands by divine authority requires structure. Structure in how you think. Structure in how you spend. Structure in how you save. Structure in how you plan. Dreams without structure dissolve. Vision without discipline fades. But vision combined with order transforms history. Archangel Michael stands as a silent witness to this phase of your journey. He guarded you through confusion. He strengthened you through resistance. Now He watches your commitment to execution. Many people love prophetic words, but fewer embrace prophetic work. This is the stage where belief must translate into behavior. Ownership is your first step. You must fully accept that your financial future is now in your hands. No more blaming your being. No more refusing inconsistency. No more comparing your starting point to someone else's advantage. Ownership does not mean criticizing yourself. It means recognizing your authority. When you accept responsibility, you reclaim power. Think about how different your life will look in 5 years if you begin making disciplined decisions today. Consistent saving, intentional investing, continuous learning, strategic networking. These are not dramatic overnight shifts. They are daily choices. But daily choices shape decades. The chosen one in a bloodline cannot live casually. Casual living sustains old cycles. Intentional living dismantles them. There will be discomfort in this transition. You may have to say no to expenses that once felt normal. You may have to reduce habits that once felt harmless. You may need to distance yourself from conversations that normalize limitation. Growth will stretch you socially and emotionally. Some people may not understand your new boundaries, but boundaries protect breakthroughs. March 2nd marked your awakening. This season marks your restructuring. Start examining your routines. Where does your time go? Where does your money go? Where does your focus go? These questions reveal alignment or misalignment. If your habits do not reflect your vision, the cycle remains intact. But if your habits shift, the cycle weakens. Archangel Michael's presence is symbolic of divine reinforcement, but reinforcement flows through preparation. When you prepare wisely, support aligns. When you move strategically, clarity increases. You are not being asked to perform miracles. You are being asked to steward opportunity. You must also cultivate long-term thinking. Poverty often trains people to think only about immediate survival, but you are stepping into generational strategy. What assets can you build that appreciate over time? What knowledge can you acquire that increases your earning potential? What systems can you create that function even when you are resting? These are the questions of builders, and you are a builder. This shift will feel different. Instead of reacting emotionally to financial tension, you respond analytically. Instead of chasing every opportunity, you evaluate alignment. Instead of fearing responsibility, you welcome it as evidence of growth. That internal change is more powerful than any external increase. You are not simply trying to earn more money. You are trying to change what is normal in your family. You are changing conversations. You are changing expectations. You are changing what your future children will consider possible. That is a sacred assignment. It requires courage. It requires patience. It requires discipline when no one is applauding you. Archangel Michael remains near because generational shifts attract spiritual attention. But do not misunderstand this support. Heaven backs movement, not passivity. The covenant is active when you are active. This is your moment to seal your commitment publicly. Type "I build with discipline" in the comments if you are choosing structure over chaos. Blessing code 8642 has just been released over your financial foundation. And as you step deeper into this building season, understand that sowing accelerates construction. God declares, "When you plant with faith, I send increase beyond your expectation." If this message is equipping your spirit and strengthening your resolve, respond in alignment. Use super thanks, step into membership, or release your seed through the PayPal link in the description. Your support becomes part of a greater expansion, helping this message reach others who are still trapped in inherited limitation. Do not hesitate. Act decisively. Let your giving become a prophetic declaration that you are serious about breaking this cycle completely. The next revelation will challenge how boldly you are willing to expand once your foundation is firmly established. Determined heir of a rewritten future, you have stabilized your foundation. You have embraced discipline. You have accepted ownership. Now the next dimension of your assignment unfolds, and it is called expansion. Breaking the cycle of poverty was never meant to stop at stability. Stability is the floor, not the ceiling. On March 2nd, when God declared you the chosen one of your bloodline to break the cycle of poverty, He authorized more than survival. He authorized multiplication. There is a profound difference between maintaining and multiplying. Maintaining protects what you have. Multiplying increases what you carry. Many people escape crisis but never expand beyond comfort. They reach a level of security and quietly settle. But you were not chosen to settle. You were chosen to stretch the standard of your entire bloodline. Archangel Michael stands as guardian not only over your protection, but over your expansion. Expansion goes attention. Growth requires courage, and courage must now replace hesitation. As your mindset has shifted from survival to stewardship, you may have noticed something happening internally. Ideas are surfacing that once felt unrealistic. Business concepts seem less intimidating. Investment opportunities appear more understandable. Skills you once doubted you could learn now seem attainable. This is not coincidence. It is capacity expanding. When mindset upgrades, vision expands naturally. However, expansion introduces a new internal battle, the fear of visibility. When you begin to rise beyond the old financial norm of your family, you will be noticed. Some will celebrate you. Some will observe you closely. Some may question your ambition. Visibility can feel uncomfortable when you are used to blending in. But you cannot expand while hiding. March 2nd shifted your identity from quiet survivor to visible builder. You must now confront the subtle thoughts that attempt to restrain you. Thoughts like, what if I grow too quickly and can't sustain it? Or what if success changes how people see me? These whispers are remnants of the old cycle trying to keep you small. Poverty often trains people to avoid standing out. It encourages safety over scale. But you were not authorized for safety alone. You were authorized for growth. Expansion, however, must be strategic. This is not about impulsively chasing every opportunity. It is about aligned growth. You must ask yourself, where can I increase my income streams wisely? What skills can I develop that raise my value? What investments can I make that appreciate over time? Multiplication requires planning, It requires patience. It requires calculated courage. Financial literacy becomes crucial in this phase. The more you understand how money flows, grows, and compounds, the less fear controls you. Study ownership. Study assets versus liability. Study long-term investing. Study how wealth is preserved. Knowledge removes intimidation. Ignorance fuels fear. As you multiply wisely, you will begin to notice subtle environmental shifts. Conversations around you will change. Possibilities will expand. Even those who once doubted your vision may begin asking for advice. This is not about ego. It is about evidence. Results on skepticism. The compounding effect of discipline is powerful. Small investments grow steadily. Small improvements accumulate. Small risks taken wisely yield multiplied returns. This is how cycles are permanently broken. Not through dramatic overnight miracles, but through consistent, multiplied action over time. Guard yourself against complacency. Stability can quietly become a new comfort zone. Once bills are paid and savings begin to grow, it is tempting to relax your intensity. But remember your assignment. You were not chosen merely to feel comfortable. You were chosen to elevate the entire narrative of your bloodline. Expansion requires sustained focus. This may mean stepping into unfamiliar rooms, networking with individuals who operate at higher financial levels, presenting ideas publicly, launching projects that stretch your confidence. Each of these steps will challenge your comfort zone, but stretching builds strength. Archangel Michael's presence symbolizes courage under protection. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is movement despite uncertainty. When you feel nervous about growth, that is evidence you are expanding beyond old limitations. Previous generations may have avoided risk due to fear. You are learning to evaluate risk intelligently. Your name will gradually become associated with change, with stability, with increase. That is legacy forming. Legacy is not accidental. It is built intentionally. With expansion also comes responsibility. Greater income requires wiser management. Greater influence requires deeper humility. Greater opportunity requires sharper discernment. You must match growth with maturity. Without maturity, multiplication collapses. With maturity, it compounds. The covenant you opened was never about temporary relief. It was about generational transformation. And transformation includes multiplication. It includes scaling what works. It includes building systems that function beyond your direct involvement. It includes thinking beyond today and designing for decades. Now you must begin considering something even greater than personal expansion. You must begin thinking about transfer. Not only how to build wealth, but how to preserve it. Not only how to grow assets, but how to educate future generations to manage them wisely. Because breaking a cycle is powerful, but ensuring it never returns is legacy. Appointed guardian of generational wealth, you have broken ground. You have embraced discipline. You have stepped into expansion. Now you must rise into the dimension that separates temporary success from lasting legacy. Breaking the cycle of poverty was your first mandate. Multiplying beyond survival was your second. But preservation is your third and most strategic responsibility. On March 2nd, when God declared you the chosen one of your bloodline to break the cycle of poverty, heaven was not focused only on your present breakthrough. Heaven was looking ahead to generations who will speak your name as the turning point. Archangel Michael stands not only as protector of your covenant, but as overseer of what you are building beyond your lifetime. Legacy requires intentional design. May people increase their income but failed to increase their structure. They rise financially but never create systems that outlive them. Wealth without instruction fades. Opportunity without education dissolves. Assets without planning scatter. This is why your assignment is larger than earning more money. You are called to construct frameworks that remain strong even when you are no longer personally managing them. You must shift your mindset from achiever to architect. An achiever focuses on results in the present. An architect designs for the future. An achiever celebrates milestones. An architect plans transitions. Instead of asking only, "How can I earn more this year?" begin asking, "How can I ensure what I build lasts for decades?" The poverty cycle often continued in your bloodline not because of lack of effort, but because of lack of structured transfer. Knowledge was not intentionally passed down. Financial literacy was not openly discussed. Ownership was rarely modeled. Silence around money allowed confusion to grow. You are now positioned to end that silence. Archangel Michael's presence signifies divine backing, but divine backing does not replace deliberate teaching. If you learned how to invest wisely, share that knowledge. If you discover principles of saving and budgeting that work, demonstrate them openly. If you build a business, explain its systems to those who will inherit it. Transparency builds continuity. Continuity is how cycles stay broken. Character is equally essential. Increased income must be matched by increased humility. Expanded influence must be matched by deeper integrity. If pride grows faster than wisdom, stability weakens. If lifestyle inflates faster than structure, preservation becomes fragile. Guard your heart as carefully as you guard your assets. There will be moments where short-term recognition tempts you. Opportunities that promise quick applause, but little enduring value. Discernment must guide your decisions. Not every profitable opportunity aligns with legacy. Some gains cost more than they give. Evaluate choices by sustainability, not excitement. Begin thinking about generational systems. Establish clear financial goals. Consider long-term investment strategies. Explore overhead structures that protect assets. Think about estate preparation and documentation. These are not concepts reserved for the elite. They are tools available to anyone who refuses to let history repeat itself. You are redefining what normal looks like in your family. Future generations will grow up observing calm financial discussions instead of anxious whispers. They will see planning rather than panic. They will witness ownership rather than dependence. The cultural shift is as powerful as the financial shift itself. When children grow up surrounded by structure, they internalize stability. When they observe discipline consistently modeled, they replicate it naturally. You are building culture, not just capital. Culture determines whether wealth survives. A culture of education sustains increase. A culture of entitlement destroys it. A culture of gratitude strengthens it. You must cultivate values alongside assets. Teach patience. Teach delayed gratification. Teach responsibility. Teach generosity balanced with wisdom. March 2nd marked your awakening, but preservation marks your maturity. You are no longer thinking only about what you can achieve. You are thinking about what you can establish. Establishment is deeper than achievement. It requires documentation, communication, and intentional succession planning. If this message confirms your calling, engage actively. Declare in the comments that you are committed not only to growth, but to lasting legacy. Share this message with someone in your family who needs to understand that preservation protects progress. Subscribe to this channel if you are serious about thinking generationally and building intentionally. When you like and share this message, you are amplifying a movement that empowers chosen ones to construct futures instead of merely reacting to circumstances. You will thank yourself for staying aligned, because what is about to unfold next will reveal the deeper spiritual reason behind your financial assignment. You are about to understand that wealth was never the ultimate goal. It was the instrument. Influence is the greater calling. Influence over mindset. Influence over culture. Influence over what your bloodline believes is possible. And that revelation will elevate your responsibility to an even higher level. Consecrated voice of generational transformation, you have walked through awakening. You have embraced discipline. You have stepped into expansion. You have committed to preservation. Now you must understand the deepest layer of this assignment. Wealth was never the ultimate goal. Stability was never the final reward. Multiplication was never the highest calling. On March 2nd, when God declared you the chosen one of your bloodline to break the cycle of poverty, He was preparing you for influence. Financial breakthrough was the doorway. Influence is the destiny. Influence changes what people believe is possible. Influence reshapes conversations that have repeated for decades. Influence dismantles invisible ceilings without shouting. Archangel Michael has not only guarded your finances and strengthened your discipline, he has guarded your credibility. Because when someone rises with integrity, consistency, and wisdom, their life becomes undeniable. And when your life becomes undeniable, your voice carries weight. Consider what happens when one person in a family shifts from constant survival to visible stability. At first, people observe quietly. Then they grow curious. Eventually, they begin to ask questions. How did you manage that? What changed? What are you doing differently? That curiosity is the beginning of cultural transformation. The poverty cycle survived not only because of limited resources, but because of limited perspective. Certain statements may have echoed for years in your family. We never get ahead. This is just how it is. People like us don't reach that level. Those phrases built invisible boundaries. But when you rise steadily and sustainably, you challenge those beliefs without arguing. Your life becomes proof. Proof is powerful. March 2nd marked the moment heaven trusted you to become that proof. The covenant placed in your hands was not only about provision, it was about positioning. You were positioned to demonstrate that discipline works, positioned to show that wisdom multiplies, positioned to reveal that cycles are not permanent. Influence does not explode overnight. It grows through repetition. When you consistently manage money wisely, people notice. When you remain calm under financial pressure, people observe. When you plan instead of panic, others learn quietly. Over time, your stability becomes a new reference point in your bloodline. You may already sense subtle shifts. Younger relatives asking about your goals. Friends noticing your habits. Family members listening more closely when you speak about planning. This is influence forming. But influence requires humility. You must resist the temptation to measure your growth against others with pride. Remember the seasons when you were uncertain. Remember the mistakes that taught you wisdom. Speak with compassion. Age with patience. Influence that is rooted in humility lasts. Influence rooted in ego collapses. Archangel Michael remains near because generational transformation attracts attention beyond the physical realm. When old narratives break, resistance sometimes attempts to return through doubt, criticism, or misunderstanding. Do not be surprised if not everyone applauds your growth immediately. Change can feel threatening to those who are comfortable with familiarity. Stay steady. Stay disciplined. Stay anchored in purpose. The deeper reason for your financial breakthrough is cultural reformation within your lineage. You are rewriting what normal looks like. You are showing that wealth and integrity can coexist. You are proving that discipline produces freedom. You are demonstrating that planning replaces panic. And your influence will not stop within your family. As your credibility grows, opportunities may arise for you to mentor others, to advise colleagues, to guide friends. Do not shrink from those moments. They are extensions of your assignment. You were not chosen only to escape limitation. You were chosen to illuminate possibility. The chosen one becomes a lighthouse. A lighthouse does not chase ships. It stands firm and shines consistently. Its stability guides others safely. Your consistency will guide others more effectively than motivational speeches ever could. However, influence without continued discipline weakens quickly. You must protect your habits. Protect your financial integrity. Protect your character. The same consistency that built your breakthrough must sustain your impact. Influence expands responsibility, not comfort. March 2nd with a declaration. Your disciplined life is the demonstration. Every wise decision you make strengthens your voice. Every act of integrity reinforces your authority. Every moment of patience builds credibility. Over time, your name will become associated with transformation. Not because you demanded recognition, but because your results spoke clearly. Now you stand at the edge of completion. You have broken the cycle. You have built structure. You have multiplied with wisdom. You have committed to preservation. And you have stepped into influence. The final revelation will bring everything together. It will seal the covenant fully and clarify why spiritual alignment was the foundation of this entire journey. What you are about to understand will confirm that this was never just about money. It was about obedience, identity, and divine trust placed upon you. The conclusion will not simply close this message. It will commission you. Crowned heir of a fulfilled covenant. Now everything comes together. March 2nd was never just a date. It was a divine appointment. When God declared, "You are the chosen one of your bloodline to break the cycle of poverty," heaven was not making a suggestion. Heaven was issuing a commission. And when Archangel Michael symbolically placed the new covenant in your hands, it was not inspiration. It was authorization. You were authorized to break, authorized to build, authorized to multiply, authorized to preserve, authorized to influence. And now you must understand the final truth. This was always about obedience. Money was the battlefield, but identity was the victory. Discipline was the training, but trust was the foundation. Every decision you made to grow instead of quit, to learn instead of complain, to plan instead of panic, was an act of obedience. You aligned with heaven's declaration instead of repeating history's pattern. That is why this covenant holds. The poverty cycle did not simply weaken. It broke because you chose alignment over comfort. You chose responsibility over excuses. You chose structure over chaos. And every time you made that choice, something shifted not only in your life, but in your lineage. Future generations will never fully understand the internal battles you fought. They will not see the late nights of planning. They will not feel the weight of resisting old habits. They will not hear the whispers of doubt you silence, but they will live in the reality you created. They will call stability normal. They will call ownership expected. They will call opportunity accessible. And they will never know how close the cycle came to continuing until you stood up. Archangel Michael's role in this journey was never to replace your effort. It was to reinforce your courage, to guard your covenant, to ensure that what heaven released was not stolen by fear. You were protected, but you were also responsible, and you carried that responsibility. Now hear this clearly. Breaking the cycle of poverty was not the end of your calling. It was the beginning of your stewardship. You must continue walking in discipline. Continue teaching wisdom. Continue guarding your integrity. Continue thinking generationally. The covenant remains active as long as you remain aligned. There will still be challenges. There will still be decisions that stretch you. But you no longer face them as someone trapped in a cycle. You face them as someone who has authority over it. You are no longer reacting to survival. You are designing legacy. You are no longer afraid of increase. You are prepared to manage it. You are no longer limited by inherited beliefs. You are guided by divine conviction. This is the completion of the covenant's unveiling. Now seal it. Type "the cycle ends with me" in the comments if you receive this commission. Blessing code 9907 has just been released over your bloodline. And as this covenant settles into your spirit, hear this prophetic invitation. God says, "When you build my work, I build your house." As you have stepped into obedience to break cycles in your lineage, now extend that obedience outward. Sow into the mission that spreads awakening to others who are still trapped. When you release your seed through Super Thanks, step into membership, or give through the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a channel. You are fueling a movement that shatters generational chains. This is your moment of alignment. Let your giving be a prophetic act that declares, "I will not watch others remain bound." As you sow, may open doors locate you. As you give, may increase pursue you. Act now. Seal this covenant with obedience. The covenant has been opened. The cycle has been broken. The legacy has begun.